Hello and welcome to helpyourmath.com. In this video, we are going to look at solving two-step linear equations. Remember, the goal when we're solving linear equations is to get the variable by itself by using inverse operations. We typically do this reverse order of operations, so if there's something being added or subtracted on the same side of the equal sign as the variable, we want to undo that first. Let's look at some examples. First, we have 7 plus 3b equals negative 12. I see the variable term is here on the left-hand side, 3b, and there's a 7 being added to that 3b. So that's the first thing I'll use inverse operations on. Since it's a positive 7, if I want it to not be on the left-hand side anymore, then I would add negative 7 to both sides or subtract 7 from both sides. This way I get 7 minus 7 is 0. 0 plus 3b is 3b on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, negative 12 and negative 7, because they're both negative, we will combine the values and keep that common negative, so we end up with minus 19. Now I have 3b equals negative 19. 3b indicates multiplication, that's 3 times b. To undo the multiplication, I will use division. I'm going to divide both sides by that same amount, and I'm going to divide both sides by 3. 3b divided by 3 would be 1b. We don't have to write the 1, so I'm just going to say b equals, here I have a negative divided by a positive, so I'm just going to move the negative out in front, 19 over 3. It does say to leave the answer as a simplified proper or improper fraction. This is an improper fraction, so I'm going to leave my answer like this. It's totally simplified as well, so I'm all set with this first example. In the next example, we have negative 14 equals 7m minus 6. Notice here, this time, our variable term is on the right-hand side. I'm going to leave it on the right-hand side. If you feel more comfortable, you can move it to the left-hand side because equality is commutative. So saying a equals b is the same thing as b equals a, but it's okay for the variable to be on the right-hand side. It's no problem at all. What else is on the right-hand side? This minus 6. To undo a minus 6, I'm going to add 6 to both sides. So I'm going to add 6 to the minus 14, and I'm going to add 6 to the negative 6. Negative 14 plus 6, they have opposite signs, so we subtract, keep the sign of that larger. 14 minus 6 is 8, but because there's more negative, we'll make it negative 8. On the right-hand side, we have 7m minus 6 plus 6. The minus 6 plus 6 makes 0. 7m plus 0 is just 7m. To get m by itself, since it's being multiplied by 7, I'll divide both sides by 7. And then I get my final answer here. I get negative 8 over 7 is equal to m, or if you want to turn it around, you can and say m equals negative 8 over 7. Either way is totally fine. And there's the solution to the second example. Our third example, we have negative 9g plus 7 equals 28. Let's see, the variable term is here on the left-hand side. And the first thing I'm going to do, I see this plus 7. I'm going to subtract 7 from both sides. Minus 9g plus 7 minus 7, that makes it 0. So we get negative 9g plus 0, which would just be negative 9g equals positive 21. And now to get g by itself, it's being multiplied by negative 9. I'm going to divide both sides by negative 9. Negative divided by negative will be positive 1, and that would be 1g, which we can just write as g. 21 divided by negative 9, I'm going to pull that negative out in front, and we get 21 over 9. 9 doesn't go evenly into 21, but they do have a common factor. They're both divisible by 3. So it does say to simplify, I'm going to divide both the numerator and denominator by 3, and I'm going to get my final answer of negative 7 over 3. I'm leaving it as an improper fraction, and that would be my final answer for this example. And finally, our last example, we have 6 equals 10 minus 8x. I see the variable is over here. That negative belongs to the variable term. That's a minus 8x. So we have this 10 that's also on the right-hand side. It's positive. To undo that positive 10, or to remove the constant from the right-hand side, I need to subtract 10 from both sides. Here I have 6 minus 10. Opposite sign, so I'm going to subtract. 10 minus 6 is 4, but we keep the sign of that bigger value, so we get negative 4. Equals 10 minus 10 is 0. 0 minus 8x is negative 8x. Now to get x by itself, it's being multiplied by negative 8. To undo that, I will divide both sides by negative 8. Over here, I have negative 4 over negative 8. So first I notice that a negative divided by a negative is a positive. And then 4 over 8, there's a common factor between 4 and 8. 4 goes into both. That's going to give me 1 over 2, positive 1 over 2. And over here I get positive x. So here, my final answer, I get 1/2 equals x, or if you want to flip it around, we can say x equals 1/2. These have been examples of solving two-step linear equations. Thank you for stopping by.